Them things say we soft. Them things say we bluffing. Steel toe on the ground. Crumbs fly from the muffin. System build big wall, me come with small plan. One bite, one brick, crumble in a me and suit man chat tough. Them are still cotton, them file full of lie, but the truth can't rotten. Mash up the system, bust down the gate. Me day and your muffin, me now bow, me now wait. Mash up the system, tear out the chain. Crumb on me lip, but me clean up the pain. Mash up the system, mash it, mash it. Muffin in a hand while the whole thing crashing.
But I still want to do like 30 seconds of
Intro.
nothing.
Yeah.
To put over the intro. Although I suppose I could put anything over the intro.
Yeah.
Like shots of Wesley.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more and more I got to do some original music. Although recently on AI I prompted this reggae metal dark pop song about taking down the system but also loving muffins, and I had it write the song in pidgin English, and it's friggin' awesome. It's called Mash Up the System. It's fucking awesome. It's like mash up the system, da 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 da, and every once in a while he's just like, but I got the muffin. It's friggin' great.
You should put that on here.
Mash up the system. Yeah, I might. All right. Well, it's been a full minute now. Welcome back to the Special Features Podcast. You know Wesley.
Yes.
Hello,
Wesley.
This is Season 3, Episode 10, I believe. Although I probably should stop listing what season and episode it is. But this one matters because it's the end of Season 3. And after this season is over, we're going to stop for a minute. Not too long, hopefully. Like at least a couple of weeks. And then retool the podcast and come back, and we'll be releasing it every week.
Cool.
Going forward. I realized that the thing that was slowing me down the most, because I don't have an editor, because we don't have sponsors for this podcast, because we make no money off of it.
Well, because we're pure, you know.
Yes, because we're too good for the system.
Exactly.
It's because we don't want to bother our viewers with ad content.
That's right.
That's why. It doesn't have to do with the fact that no one has offered us any ad revenue.
Of course not. That is the last thing on our minds.
Exactly. Anyway, but because I'm not going to be spending as much time doing the little edits throughout the podcast, I'm just going to focus on, the intro, the outro, the music and things.
Cool.
It'll be a lot easier for us to put out episodes more frequently. Also, when we come back, I want to try to have more of a set for us, more of like a consistent podcasting set. So we have something that's more fun for you guys to look at than us sitting in front of a mirror in a hallway.
I like this. This works for me.
I like it too, but I want it to want it to be more
slick.
Yeah.
More like the
more
Mike Douglas.
sexy.
Yeah, the Mike Douglas set on Seinfeld.
Yeah. I want to make giant paper mache versions of our heads and put them in the background.
Nice.
Like that Daft Punk video.
Yes.
Did you see that one?
I'm sure I must have.
It's from their Random Access Memories album.
Okay.
Where they had Paul Williams guest on one of their songs. They had Touch was the name of the song, and the video. They're like, they have their robot masks and they live in like a robot world, but they go to like some kind of weird place where they like. Because they're feeling like lonely or something, and they like build giant paper mache versions of that guy's heads on top of their robot heads, and then they're like walking around town with these giant paper mache human heads.
It makes me think of that movie Frank, where
yes, that's a good that's exactly. Frank is kind of a fun movie. I like that too.
Yeah.
It sort of has to do with our topic on deck for today.
Okay.
Which is I wanted to discuss. Not shocking movies, but movies that some people may feel are upsetting or disturbing.
Okay.
But that ultimately there are things that are interesting about them, or we like them as movies.
Some of my favorite movies.
And I wouldn't say Frank is shocking or disturbing
No.
much, but it is about...
It is a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, it is about like a group of people who are presumably mentally ill going around as a band.
Right.
And then some guy like tries to make them famous, but somehow that makes everything fall apart.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. My point is, it has Fassbender?
Yeah, Michael Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender in it. So,
but you never really see his face.
no, actually, it's better if you don't know that it's him until the end.
Right.
I kind of just ruined it.
You ruined it
for everyone. So don't listen to this. Before you listen to this, go watch Frank first,
Yes.
and then listen to this. I don't know how you would do that.
See, you'd have to go back in time.
Yeah, exactly. In your brain.
Right.
Like the movie In Time. Right. Wait, no, that's no. I was thinking of the movie About Time, where the guy has personal time travel powers. In Time is the one with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, right.
Where time is currency because everyone in the future is immortal.
Yeah. I kind of like that movie.
Permanently young.
Yeah.
It's not horrible, but it's a movie that was executed badly because they were trying to turn it into like, I don't know, like some kind of action movie or something.
Yeah.
And it felt like it could have had more depth.
Yes.
But the concept is solid.
Right.
I like the concept.
Well, and I would even say the first half of the movie is really good, and then it falls apart in the second half.
Yeah.
But
also, they found a way to make everybody in the movie have a reason that everybody in the movie is super good looking.
Yeah.
So they could just hire like all like good looking people.
Right.
That it actually works with the plot.
Yeah.
You know, because in the future, everyone is 25 and gorgeous.
Right. It's like Gattaca.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although in Gattaca, there's still people that aren't. Anyway, this is getting beyond the point. I wanted to talk about movies that were shocking and alarming to some. What do they say? Great art must disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed.
Yeah, or the afflicted.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's the same.
It's the same message.
Yeah.
Everybody says that.
Right.
Speaking of which, I actually heard that saying recently in a movie I accidentally watched called. Accidentally watched. I mean, I was bored, so I watched it. It was like this musical. Oh my God, what was it? It was based on a Greek myth, and it had the guy who was the manager in the first season of White Lotus playing like Hades in it.
Is it a foreign film?
No, it was like a musical that was made for Hulu.
Okay.
I forget what it's called though. But anyway, there's the girl in it, the main character, who sings a bunch of songs. And in one of her songs, she says that she wants her music to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. She says it my way.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you guys are right.
Anyway, regardless, no, that's not why I brought that up. I just,
Right.
for some reason, it was weird that popped up in that movie to me.
Sure.
It was just like an art house musical they were trying to do something with, but
Right.
that it had really good elements. Overall, it was a little bit problematic. I don't know. I don't want to go into great detail about it, especially because I can't remember the title.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway,
Speaking of titles, I just want to quickly say we talked a lot about a movie with Seth Rogen called The End that we're calling The End in the last podcast.
Yeah.
But it's actually This Is the End.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. That's all. Which is a good movie. This Is the End. If you ever want to see it.
All of our 3 viewers feel very vindicated that we
exactly
corrected ourselves,
because I'm sure they were disturbed.
The 2 people that listen to our podcasts all the way through.
Exactly.
Our one fan.
That person is very important to us.
Yeah, other than the hundreds of people that like open our podcast, go ugh and click away.
Right.
Anyway, but
which is fine. That's allowed.
So anyway, I think one of the ways that we can kick off this discussion of movies that are considered shocking by many is a movie that I hear actually get brought up on social media all the time. People always bring up all kinds of like random stuff that's supposed to be super disturbing that I haven't even seen, like a Serbian film. Okay. Like I've heard that that's a very alarming movie, but I've never seen it, so I can't speak to that at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
There's probably horrible things in it.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless, one that is brought up in lists with that movie and other movies all the time I hear is Salo.
Salo, yeah.
Which is
120 Days of Sodom.
Yes.
Directed by Pier Paolo Pasolini.
Yes, and loosely based on the Marquis de Sade.
Yes, well, based on the book Salo by de Sade.
Yes.
Yeah.
The book Salo by the Marquis de Sade.
By the Marquis de Sade, yes.
Anyway, regardless, a lot of people are horrified by this movie or find elements of it very distasteful and off-putting because there are a number of acts in it that are violent,
Yes.
and or sexual, perverse,
yeah.
sexual violence.
There's
things
a lot
like
of
that.
torture. Yeah.
There's a lot of torture of young people
Yeah.
by old rich people, which
Well-
is honestly a pretty common theme as far as like disturbing type of movies go.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it like the one of the oh man, I can't remember the name of the series now, even though part of it was filmed in Rhode Island, which is where we live. Friggin' Election Day.
I don't know.
The Purge.
Oh, The Purge, yes.
Yeah. There's a scene in The Purge where a bunch of the characters are like subjected to something where they're supposed to like kill each other, and there's like a room full of rich people watching through like a glass window, all like wearing masks and giggling and things.
Right.
So it's a similar.
Yeah, which is
people
funny
like
'cause-
that topic.
Yeah, that sounds like Squid Game.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. People
Yeah.
like the topic of like, oh, look at these horrible, cruel rich people torturing these young people with their sick games.
Right.
And Salo is kind of like the ultimate, like as far as you can take that.
Right.
At least for how some people think.
Right, but of course Pasolini is doing Salo as a critique of Italian fascism, you know, during World War II, because
So it's same topic, different day.
yeah,
I mean, like, God knows fascism has been a classic theme
yeah,
of humanity for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
of course,
So I would say that there are probably many artists who used fascism and control and things they were mad about to create art.
yeah. But I think Pasolini probably had a closer experience with fascism because, I mean, he was a gay man and he lived through the fascist period in World War II, and I think he had to probably witness some of the horrors of what happened in Italy during those years.
So then why isn't his movie more affecting?
Well,
Because what I wanted to talk about with Salo is that for me, and this is not because I'm a sociopath, I'm not.
sing it.
Yeah. For me, I don't find that movie that disturbing. I do find it a little gross sometimes. Obviously, like, it's frustrating when you see people with power, especially just because they have money, take advantage of people. It's disgusting, and you hate those people. But the movie itself, the things that happen in it, I don't. The whole thing kind of feels like a play to me. Mm-hmm. Like it feels a little bit distant and
Mannered.
yeah, and maybe that's the intention. I mean, maybe the intention is to be like violent acts don't always take place in like, in the heat of intense feelings. Sometimes things just happen in life and they're horrible, and it's like an everyday occurrence.
Right. Well, I think that, part of it is that he's adapted the story from, like you said, the Marquis de Sade, and the Marquis de Sade's book takes place in, I think, the 1700s. And so because of that, it's a strange, it's a strange idea to try to take something like that that's obviously a perverse fantasy, because that's obviously what Marquis de Sade was doing. He's doing sadomasochistic fantasies and porn, essentially. And to try to update something like that so that it takes place during,
It's a challenge.
it's a challenge, exactly. And it's
well,
gonna,
also so you're saying that the movie is like a product of its time.
yeah,
It's not so much that it's like not affecting. It's just we've seen so many things done so many different ways now.
right.
That the movie, it's dated.
Well, and
Like in the same way that people argue that like Citizen Kane is dated. It's like Citizen Kane invented modern filmmaking, so it's unquestionably brilliant. But when you watch it with perspective of having seen so many movies since then, I think it's hard for a lot of people to understand what it means in the same way.
Well, and I would also go so far as to say that I think the movie Salo is a very, very cleaned up version of the book.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as like if they made the you know, I mean, you ever seen the movie Caligula?
Yes,
You know,
I know.
mean,
It's basically like sick porn.
yeah, it would. I mean, if they had made the movie based on the book, really, it would have been X-rated and probably forbidden.
Which actually brings me to another thing I didn't even think about discussing, which is American Psycho.
Yeah.
Because American Psycho is a perfect example of that too.
Same
it's like
thing.
the movie is very toned down compared to the
graphic,
shocking graphic violence in the book.
Yes.
And although the book does also have some like witty non-graphic moments that are pretty good that are not in the movie.
Absolutely.
But that's part of the reason I love that movie. Like I like the book too. I've read it. It's I don't like it because of its shocking violence. I like it just because it's a book written by somebody who was upset about the time they were living in.
Yeah.
And so it has its humor to it.
It does. I actually found the book though almost like at the time I read it, it like was too disgusting for me.
See, that's interesting you say that, because when I read the book, it does have a section. There are sections in the book, like maybe one or two, that have really grotesque violence in them. But for the most part, most of the book is not like that.
No, that's right.
And
most of the book is not like that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I found it very easy to stomach the horrible parts because they're not that long.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying everybody could or everybody should.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like either way, that's not my point. My point is I like the movie better than the book because I feel like the movie takes the central charm and humor of the story and the central message of the story and tones down the unnecessarily gratuitous like violence and grotesquerie.
Sure.
And I think so this is just what I just wanted to talk about because I really like American Psycho, the movie.
Well, I think the movie is easy to like. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the movie too.
I also feel like it's a very biting criticism of like that culture, that like upper crust, like businessman, son of a guy that owns a company type culture.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
The culture that we're all living under the thumb of right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I'm sure if Bret Easton Ellis, he's not alive, right? Is he alive?
I think he might be. He was young when he wrote that.
Oh my God. Well, I was about to say he'd be disgusted by the culture we live in, but he might actively be disgusted by it.
Yeah.
Although I do hear that he was in a bad place when he wrote that book, like mentally.
Yeah.
And that he has gotten better since then.
He was part of this sort of brat pack of
he's
young
still alive.
writers. Okay.
He's 62 years old. I wonder what he thinks about the current culture.
Yeah, well, I mean, depends on where he is in his life, But I'm
Yikes.
sure he probably doesn't care for it any more than any of us.
It's hard to say. Sometimes, you think people are going to be like, with you on the humanitarian front, and then you find out they're like lunatics.
Right.
Like John Voight is so weird to me in that way.
Yeah, I agree. He's crazy.
Like,
but
because I really like a lot of the roles he's done.
I know.
And you would think somebody who'd been in some of the roles he'd been in would be like a progressive guy.
Sure.
But he's a lunatic.
yeah, it's very unfortunate.
Anyway, but we could sit here forever and talk about like the actors who are like just old people now who like are crazy.
Yeah.
Like people are people.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Solo, it's a weird one for me. And it very much does feel like a play, just because maybe it's just because there's a lot of wide shots in it. I don't know. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily on my list of like must-sees.
Well, it's funny because the first thing by the way, every time I say it's funny, I hope there's somebody out there taking a drink because I say it's funny way too much.
I noticed that about myself too. I
Yeah.
promise you nobody else notices.
Yeah.
The amount of like vloggers and podcasters I see who say things repeatedly.
Right.
By the way, move your chair a little closer to me.
Anyway, the first thing that I...
Just it doesn't have to be too crazy.
The first thing that
Don't make out with me or nothing. Sorry, continue.
Anyway, the first time I heard about Solo is that many years ago. I got a John Waters book of essays. I forget what it's called, but he talks about movies that he likes.
Yeah.
And one of the movies he mentions is Solo. And the way he describes the movie is, full of these kind of atrocities, but that the end is strangely touching because it's these two German soldiers kind of like, like dancing or something like that. And it's like a weirdly touching little scene, And
that's definitely not what you remember about the movie.
no, that's
though,
not
I'll
what
tell
you,
you that.
exactly.
I feel like what is most memorable to me about the movie is like, so the movie is obviously full of like violent and sexual atrocities, right?
Right.
By these old rich men against these young Italian people.
Right.
But what stands out to me the most is not really any of the atrocities. What stands out to me is that one of the rules that everybody is supposed to abide by when they're in the house is like not having regular sex with anybody privately or something like that. Like there's this weird restrictive rule. It's like you're not supposed to have an outside relationship outside of the atrocities they're committing.
Okay.
You know, and that's what I felt like was the most disturbing thing to me about that movie. This idea of someone controlling like your private life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like not just forcing you to do horrible things, but also like saying like, you know, you're not allowed to have any of your own relationships.
Right.
You can only be peed on by me. Like,
Right.
you know, that was what distressed me.
Yeah.
Is that, and that's that feeling of like being captive or being a slave.
Right.
You know, like somebody else not only wants to tell you what to do, they want to like control your private life too.
Right.
And I feel like that's what the most powerful, like the worst powerful people in our world would do if they had that ability.
Yeah, sure.
They would not, they don't just want to like, you know, they don't like, we clock into work. They want to control us during that time, but they also want to like
control
every
everything.
element of our life.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
that's disturbing to me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It is.
Like, you know, somebody can stab me and that's horrible, but I don't want somebody who like has the ability to like, you know, I don't know, tell me I can't like be alone or like I'm not allowed to like, you know, I don't know, kiss somebody else or something.
Right. No, absolutely. You don't want anybody inside your head
Yeah.
or in your, you know, most private moments. I mean, that's why 1984 is disturbing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. We could talk about like things that are about fascism and control.
Yeah.
Because like I'd love to talk about more about like that and V for Vendetta and other things.
Yeah.
But so hoping that nobody thinks we're just like obsessed with Salo, we should probably talk about other art forms as well.
Before we do though, there was another thing about Salo that you know, I told you I saw the essay about it in John Waters's thing, but also
Can I just say that South Park has ruined people just talking about essays normally to me?
Yeah, how
because
so?
because there was a scene in South Park where one of the characters pays like these like Mexican workers who are like the joke is that like they're hanging out in front of Home Depot waiting to get picked up for work, but like basically one of the characters pays them to like read The Old Man and the Sea and write essays about it for school. But then when they go back, the joke is that none of the guys wrote essays, they wrote to their essays. Do you get it?
Oh, essay. Yeah, I got you. Yes.
Yeah, so now every time I hear the word,
essay.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now every time I hear the word essay, that's what I think of.
That's funny.
It's been ruined for me. Just
Wow.
just using it as a normal word.
Wow, that is funny.
Not that the word, you know, used in Spanish as like essay is not a normal word.
No,
But
I know
you
what you're
I
saying.
mean? Like,
Yeah, but you know that little anecdote that from South Park kind of makes me realize something. Like I just had a nostalgic moment because I think one of the first things I ever wrote in school when I was a little kid in elementary school was an essay about The Old Man and the Sea.
Really?
Yeah, like in third grade.
Kind of like high-minded literature for
I know,
a child.
isn't that weird? Yeah.
It reminds me that I wrote an essay in college about the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which I feel like,
Yeah.
you know, The Old Man and the Sea and the Rime of the Ancient Mariner
They kind of go together.
Kind of have hand in hand, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, also Moby Dick, we're both fans,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't know what that is about
Sad
old men in the
stories
ocean.
about the ocean. Yes,
Yeah.
old men in the ocean.
Yeah.
I think it's because both of us like the idea of like becoming old men in the ocean.
Yes. That's
Both
sort
of us just want to be like these old guys, like at the end of A River Runs Through It, where the author is like fly fishing as like an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, right.
On in the waters of that
Yeah.
river in Missoula, Montana.
Yeah, the Platte or whatever it is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just want to be like an old man with a fishing pole. That's the dream.
that is my dream.
But yeah, we were talking about how to put a lighter note to Salo, that Bill Hader has some funny comments about Salo when he's in the Criterion Closet.
Yeah, right.
If you're interested, I highly recommend So if you don't know, the Criterion Closet is basically a closet filled with the collected works of the Criterion Collection.
Right.
And they invite different people to come in and like take movies and talk about them. Watch the Bill Hader episode because it's funnier than some of the episodes, I guess.
I mean, I like a lot of them,
they're all interesting.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, the Bill Hader one Bill Hader's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Who was also in his own shocking material because he was in Barry.
Yeah, and Barry has some shocking moments,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
I found Barry very shocking at times.
Yeah.
Mostly just sad, though.
Yeah.
Sad story about the life of somebody who was pushed into violence who wasn't inherently a violent person.
Right. Yeah.
But moving forward, because I want to make sure we touch on some of these other topics we've discussed.
Okay.
That we've written down here and prepared. Yes, we should if this podcast ever does gain any traction, we should make sure we release our list of like all-time movies, like in the way that is it Time Magazine that has the list of like the top 100 movies of
probably.
all time or
I'm
something?
not sure, but probably.
Like there's like a magazine that does that.
Yeah.
And we could have our own.
Yeah, well,
Call it the Greatshell movies list.
Greatshell 100. I don't know.
That's another thing I'm considering, changing the name of this podcast so it's more recognizable.
Well,
like
whatever.
Special Features is definitely classic, but I'm wondering if we're going to retool it, if we should try to play up our uniqueness more.
We
I
could.
mean, Christ, our last name is weird.
Yeah, you're right. We could use that in
We
some
could
way.
use that somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. These are all things.
Yeah.
These are all things that only God knows.
We'll chat about it. I was thinking we should do an episode where we just talk about my books, and I can complain the whole episode.
That sounds great. I'm actually actively trying to submit some of your short stories and stuff to Creepcast, which is that horror podcast that I really like. I feel like if they were to like read your material and point you out, you get a lot of attention from them because they're like the ultimate force of horror / science fiction / you know what I mean? Like they're the people that people listen to right now for that stuff.
Okay.
Or at least a huge percentage of the population does. I mean, their podcast is very popular. Regardless, I'm getting off topic.
Okay.
But yes, we should do a podcast where you just read one of your entire books. It'll be like that thing where Andy Kaufman read the entirety of what was the book he read?
Yeah, it was Moby Dick, I think.
Was it Moby Dick?
Yeah.
I don't know. He read the entirety of some incredibly long book to an audience because he was mad about like people not appreciating him or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
My point is, it'll be like that. Anyway, but moving forward, one movie that I actually do want to mention that I think is a really great movie, but I'm not sure if you're somebody who gets, like, obviously, who's upset by, like, human drama and traumatic things, I'm not sure this is something I would watch more than once.
Okay.
Unless you, like... I guess what I'm saying is, like, obviously you shouldn't watch shocking movies in general if you're somebody that doesn't like them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we should... It's not really up to us to decide for other people what they want to watch. We should just talk about what
Let me put it this
like.
way. I have never watched this movie more than once because I found it upsetting,
Right.
but it's also a good movie.
Yeah.
And I wanted to touch on it because it's a very shocking movie that a lot of people list in their like lists of most shocking movies.
Right.
But I still think it's a more delicately crafted movie than people care to talk about.
Okay.
Because people talk just about the shock factor. They don't talk about the overall premise of the movie, which is irreversible.
See, I thought you were talking about Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ew. That movie is genuinely shocking in how like ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
That being said, young Johnny Depp.
Yeah, it's not the worst movie,
Young Johnny Depp.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
absolutely.
there is something a little weird though about a monster that is constantly saying the word bitch.
Right.
I don't remember if Freddy Krueger says that in the first movie or
don't
later,
either.
but all I know is that's a little odd. I know that Rick and Morty made a joke about it. They had a whole episode that was like kind of making fun of Nightmare on Elm Street.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah,
episode.
you remember
yeah.
that? Like Scary
Yeah.
Stanley or something?
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless. Yeah, Irreversible.
Irreversible.
Surprisingly deep movie. And
Yeah.
and honestly, a lot of times I think as you sort of unearthed to me with Solo, like there's a lot more history a lot of times and a lot more intention behind movies that come off as shocking than people give them credit for.
Sure.
Because people will be disturbed by the shocking elements and they'll gloss over the fact that the movie is actually a good movie.
Yeah.
Now, Irreversible is like the perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Because this is a movie that has some very, very alarming scenes in it.
Yeah.
However, it has a very intentional story.
Right.
And a very intentional, like, premise, like idea.
Well, and what first hooked me with that movie, like, I mean, I had no idea what that movie was going to be when I first saw it, and the first thing that caught me was not anything of the horror. It was just the really kind of off-kilter style of the movie. Like the movie begins with the credits rolling backwards.
Yeah.
And there's just a very strange,
That's another thing you could lump that movie in, because there's movies that have like, what is it called, like a non-diegetic structure or something. Movies that don't take place back to front, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean front to back.
Right.
Movies that take place like in different orders.
Uh-huh.
And we could have a whole conversation about movies like that too, because Memento is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, that's another one. You're right, and that's a really good movie also.
So I guess that's a good example. Is like if you like Memento, you might like Irreversible, but Irreversible is like if Memento had like horrifying stuff in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, more horrifying.
More horrifying than what's already in Memento.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you can watch Memento and you probably won't be like overly disturbed.
No,
by it. Memento is sort of relaxing.
Well, I mean, to
me.
Yeah, I think of Memento as being kind of a, it's a sad movie.
Yeah.
It feels very
Irreversible's sad too.
Well, it is, but by sad, with Memento, the sadness comes from the fact that the main character is he has no memory.
Yeah.
So he is a victim of every little thing that happens. He doesn't know what's really happening. But he wants so badly to know.
I know, and
so
then by the end you find out like that it's even more sad because of
Exactly.
I'm not going to give away the big reveal, but like it's super.
It's
sad.
very tragic. Yeah, it's tragic how deluded that he's been, and
exactly.
and I think that makes that movie upsetting. That it's so sad, and you feel the sadness right from the start.
Yeah.
Whereas I think with Irreversible, the movie is not inherently sad so much. It's not sad because of any one character. It's sad because the world is so screwed up.
Because the world is horrible
Yeah.
and bad things happen to people that don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the theme of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, because the movie is it's about these three people primarily, and it starts like you said, the end of the movie is the beginning.
Right.
It starts with these guys like looking for this person and you don't really know why.
Right.
And then gradually you find out basically like one of the guys is dating this girl, and she was like the victim of a horrible assault.
Right.
And that's what people find most upsetting about the movie is there is a very long, very disturbing assault scene in like it's not a subway but like
it's a tunnel.
Yeah, like an underpass.
Yeah.
And it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
It's a very upsetting scene. Like it's the most realistic depiction of that kind of violence I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, and certainly the longest.
Yes.
And it goes on forever.
That's what is alarming. Also, there's a little bit more violence in the movie, like with with that club and everything.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing.
Right.
But the movie is also, I mean, like a lot of it is about these two guys and their character, and initially their relationship with this woman, and they're like discussing, because she's like one of them is like kind of like this brawny like. It's like jock versus nerd kind of thing. It's like one of them is like this sort of like sweet, gentle guy, and one of them is this kind of like macho guy. And they're talking like, and I don't know if she was dating the scrawny guy and then started dating the macho guy or something.
Yeah,
or maybe they're just talking about like why she's attracted to him and not to the. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but there is something about a love triangle going on there.
So there's like it's really about their personalities and their interplay in that way. But talking about it as being like sort of the whole message of the thing being like just crazy crap happens to like anybody, no matter who you are,
Right.
is sort of an interesting take.
Well, and to me, like I said, that the main thing that got me about that movie is just the style, the way it was shot.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie is from the point of view of this kind of godlike camera,
Yeah.
and we're seeing
in that way, it's also got kind of the Dog Meat 95 aesthetic.
Yeah, right,
Which is to
exactly.
say, like, it all feels very real, and you're like living in the world. You're
Yeah.
like, you're going with these guys to figure out the situation.
Right. Well, in the last podcast, we mentioned a movie called Wings of Desire, directed by Wim Wenders, which is about these angels looking at the city of Berlin and looking at different stories of people in the city and sometimes intervening. And we're seeing the movie from the angels' point of view in those scenes. And that's kind of what I think the director of Irreversible is Gaspar Noé.
Want the audience to be an angel?
Well, maybe something, an angel.
To have like
a godlike perspective.
Yeah. I was almost said like your Santa Claus like looking in on people, but like that's a little weird to mix with the theme.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a lighthearted.
Yeah.
Or I feel bad for Santa, having to witness all this stuff.
Yeah. But there's I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because it's French, and the French are like more comfortable with certain kinds of themes than the Western world is. Mm-hmm. There are things in that movie that I consider very ballsy, and not the violence. I mean, the violence, I guess, is ballsy, but anybody can put violence in a movie.
Right.
I remember there's one part where they're like trying to figure out where this guy is who attacked the woman that they're friends with. Mm-hmm. And they're asking like this hooker, who's like a trans hooker, and like she like shows them her junk or something.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I believe it.
But you know what I mean?
Like
that feels very French to me.
Yeah.
Because the French, I feel like there's themes of like sexuality and human sexuality and like the state of being as a human. I feel like they're a little more comfortable with that kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, sexuality generally.
I just feel like that always stuck out to me because, like, obviously there's a lot of like, I don't know, crazy conservative lunatics out there that would be like very disturbed by the idea of like looking at a lady man's genitals, like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
which incidentally is part of the reason I love the idea of Thailand. I just love the idea of like the comfortableness with the whole ladyboy thing and everything.
I think we're going in a weird direction.
No, I think it's a perfectly normal direction. We're talking about a movie that unveils the deepest sides and discusses the deepest sides of human psyche, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm saying some cultures are more repressed and others aren't. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, but I'm not sure that this movie is about an unrepressed culture. It's more about the heights of more like how incredibly gruesome human sexuality can be, and how violent.
But also just the nature of like machismo and how it fits into that.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the guy of the two guys, one being the more macho and one being the more meek seeming, the one that like has like a mental breakdown in the movie is not the macho guy.
Right. It's the meeker guy. He's the one who gets violent. Although we shouldn't give it away.
The unexpected one. No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the movie is about, like you said, it's about the nature of human sexuality and how horrible it can be, but it's also about the nature of like machismo versus like non-machismo.
Right.
I don't.
Yeah. No, I think that's part of it for sure.
Yeah. But I think it's definitely a filmmaker's movie. I mean, I feel like if you're in film school or something, this is definitely one to check out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it falls in with movies like Happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Which...
Happiness is... I didn't even think to talk about Happiness. That's a really great one to bring up. I love Happiness.
Yeah.
But is Happiness as alarming as Irreversible?
I wouldn't say it's as alarming in the same way, but I think there are definitely moments in Happiness that are quite alarming.
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, there's definitely stuff in that movie that I could see making people squirm.
Yeah. Just in a different way.
Well, yeah, obviously. Like, I mean, but it also depends on your situation.
Yeah.
I mean, because you may or may not relate to any of the characters from Happiness, and if you do, it might make you more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I watched that movie with you when I was like a teenager for the first time, and there were themes in it that were not super comfortable to be watching with my dad as a teenager.
Sure, I can imagine, and and for that I'm sorry,
No,
but I
no.
mean I watch everything,
Yeah, I get it. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
You're just trying to like, I don't know. You're trying to give me like a film buff's film education.
Yeah.
Anyway, regardless,
I just like
we're
good
not,
movies.
We're not here to talk about your cinematic abuses toward me. Right. But happiness is a great one to bring up. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I think the most alarming theme running through happiness is probably, I don't know, maybe the father who's like a secret lunatic.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
Slash.
Yeah. He's a monster.
I don't know if we can openly talk
yeah.
about.
Yeah, I don't think we should get too specific.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah.
He's a secret sociopathic lunatic.
Right. He seems like a normal guy, but he's really an evil maniac.
Yeah. Yeah. Or he's like but he's also like so repressed by his life that it's making him even worse.
Well, of course.
Like because he's chosen what I can only imagine would be the worst possible life for someone with his inclinations.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Because
there's
honestly, if I were in his headspace, I would just like go live on an island somewhere alone.
Yeah.
Like somewhere you can't hurt people.
Yeah, well, that's that was one. I just rewatched the documentary Crumb.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's a beautiful documentary about the artist, the cartoonist R. Crumb and his family, and his brother Charles was abused from a young age. All of them were abused from a young age, and the Charles basically developed a fixation on this child actor in the movie Treasure Island. By the way, I was talking in a couple of podcasts ago about this actor who plays Bill Sykes in the original black and white David Lean Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
But he also played Long John Silver in Treasure Island. His name is Robert Newton.
I thought you were going to say he like played one of Crumb's brothers.
No. Well, I was going to get to the Crumb thing, but I'm just telling you, this actor Robert Newton played Bill Sykes, and he played Long John Silver. He's a really great actor, and if you get a chance to see those movies, he's a very, very recognizable and excellent. He does a fantastic job.
Yeah.
But what happened was that the Crumb brothers saw Treasure Island, and they became obsessed with it. But particularly the oldest brother, Charles, was obsessed with the kid in the movie Treasure Island. I forget what the kid's name is, the actor. But he just formed this very unhealthy obsession with this kid. And they were drawing all these comic books about the kid. And they were pretending to be Long John Silver and everything like that. And what wound up happening is that I think because of this obsession, he wound up getting into trouble, because as he became an adult, he was an adult man who was obsessed with this child actor. And so basically he became this shut-in, because he knew he could not have a normal sexual life, or anything like that. He chose to essentially imprison himself in his house and be on medication for his entire life, which is a tragic story, but it's in a weird way, it's heroic. Because
it's the right choice on his part.
Yeah.
Because we live in a society where there is no space for that mental illness.
Right.
The only choice you have really is to shut yourself off from the world.
Right.
And it's horrible in a way, but I'm trying to talk about this delicately because it's obviously it's a very hot button topic.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make anyone
covered with dog hair
think we're sympathizing with anybody in that position.
No.
What I'm saying is people that have those inclinations and do not act on them are more courageous by far. What am I even talking about? Because the people that do act on their inclinations are just monsters.
Right. See, and that's what I was getting back to Happiness, because the character in Happiness has those inclinations and acts on them.
Yeah.
And so he's a true monster,
Yes. Yeah. No. Absolutely. That's the best place to leave it.
Yeah.
Happiness, though. I mean, aside from the plot of that guy. I think the whole point of Happiness is just it's the same thing that a lot of these movies we're talking about are. It's life just has horrible shit in it. And it's like but that doesn't stop it from being funny or weird or interesting.
Well, I mean, that's the most interesting thing about that movie, and to a certain extent irreversible, is that they both are kind of funny in some ways. They
have comedic elements.
I would particularly
say,
happiness.
Yeah, I would say in Irreversible, the comedic elements are more like when people are just having normal social interactions. There's nothing to do with like any of the violence.
No, of course. Like one of my favorite sscenes in Happiness is the opening scene, which is this long conversation between John Lovitz and this woman who.
Oh yeah.
Who's
because I'm champagne and you're shit.
Right, exactly. It just turns.
This
from
woman breaks up with John Lovitz and he like freaks out on
her. He kind of goes ballistic, and it's a very funny scene.
Yeah.
It's also sad, but it's funny.
Well, that's what makes the character of that woman such a character you really feel for in that movie, and the reason she's like primarily the main theme running through that movie is because she's sort of put upon by everyone around her. And she's honestly, compared to the other people in that movie, she's like a saint.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And there's like a lot of horrible people in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, some of them are just horrible though because they're like desperate and lonely.
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm like thinking about like
Philip
Seymour Hoffman's character. Like he's kind of a horrible person in some ways, but it's mostly just because he's like this gross shut-in.
Yeah, exactly.
And
basically, Philip Seymour Hoffman plays a character who just spends all of his free time making, obscene phone calls
to strangers.
Yeah, and it's very.
But he sort of ends up having this weird relationship with this woman who's also kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But she's part of the reason she's crazy is because she has been like abused.
Sure.
And arguably not really crazy. I mean, this guy assaults her and she murders him. I would say that's fair. I'd say that's fair.
Yeah, I would say so.
But my point is she was messed up. And
Right.
That's sort of why they kind of like end up together in their loneliness.
Yeah.
And ultimately that's sort of like a weirdly beautiful story because nothing about their loneliness together is sexual.
Right.
Because she doesn't want to be touched because she's been assaulted.
Right.
And he kind of like doesn't really have the thing in him that makes him want to like attack someone, even though he like kind of. Because there's that whole thing about like he's talking to that woman on the phone who's the writer who like wants like an experience where she's assaulted so she can write about it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to do that to her because that's not really who he is.
Right.
He's just kind of like this guy that lacks all confidence.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that woman who plays the writer who wants to be abused, it's the same actress from Being John Malkovich.
There's so many actresses in Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
That's another movie some people might consider disturbing.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Although I find that movie incredibly insightful and fun.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But it's another movie about weird sexual dysfunction and.
Yeah, there's elements of that for sure. I think what's so funny about that movie to me is like, that's definitely like
Catherine Keener.
Yeah, Catherine Keener.
Yeah.
She's great in everything. She's in one of my favorite comedies of all time, The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, right.
And
absolutely.
She's fabulous in that
she's
movie.
terrific. Yeah.
Like when she confronts Steve Carell in his apartment and she finds that like anatomical model.
Right.
And she's like, what do you do with this?
Right. Yeah. No, she's terrific.
Also, her interaction with Jonah Hill, like before he was famous,
yeah, right.
in her eBay
About
store.
The shoes.
It's like, I just want to give you money and put them on and wear them.
Right.
She's like, no, it's not. I know it seems simple, but.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, Happiness, great example of a really good movie that I think probably makes some people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, what am I saying? It even makes people who are really into film squirm a little, but it's really cathartic and about life and crazy and it's upsetting sometimes, but life is too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm trying to remember the director's name. It's the guy who did Welcome to the Dollhouse, which is another creepy, disturbing movie.
Not as good though.
Not as good.
Welcome to the Dollhouse is a little too dry.
Happiness is his masterpiece.
Yeah.
I would say.
Happiness is pretty great.
Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, I wanted to throw in there as like just a general director, who I feel like in a lot of his movies, at least the ones I've seen, I'm not 100% sure I've seen all of his movies, but he always has at least like his movies definitely are disturbing throughout, but they're usually have like a really disturbing punchline at the end too.
Okay.
Which is Peter Greenaway.
Oh yeah. Peter Greenaway.
A lot of his movies end with some sort of shocking, crazy thing at the end.
Yeah.
But they also have like shocking themes all the way through.
Sure.
The three that I'm most familiar with are The Draughtsman's Contract, The Pillow Book, and The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, which has been an insanely hard movie to find for some reason. Like, I don't know why. It's like nowhere on streaming. It's very hard to search.
Yeah.
I feel like it's almost been erased, which kind of disturbs me.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of been banned in some way.
Maybe because should I give it away? I mean, we have to.
Yeah, right.
It's a movie podcast.
Yeah, go ahead. Just
anyway,
don't be too specific.
I wasn't going to be specific. I was just going to say it involves cannibalism.
Yes.
So I think maybe that's why it's been shut down.
Right.
Which is a shame because it's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, it is.
And the cannibalism is not really what the movie's about.
No, and it's not incredibly grotesque. It's just sort of touched upon.
It's just, in a way, the movie is very... as are all of Peter Greenaway's movies. It's very visually lustrous.
Yeah, very sumptuous.
Yeah, and The Cook, the Thief, and His Wife, and Her Lover is sort of filmed like the way a play or an opera would be filmed, with like these incredibly huge sets and these wide shots from the side.
Yeah,
right?
and beautiful colors.
Exactly.
It's a beautiful movie.
And the final moment that does have cannibalism is sort of done as like the shocking final moment of like an opera.
Yeah.
Like it's very over the top intentionally.
Yeah, and it's funny because if you think about that, I mean, Shakespeare, with Titus Andronicus has a big cannibal play.
Also, Fried Green Tomatoes has cannibalism in it, and that is on every streaming service ever, just because they don't come out and say it.
Yeah.
But it still has cannibalism.
It's still there, right?
Fried Green Tomatoes is about cannibalism, okay?
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
It's also about spousal abuse, but we won't, regardless.
Yeah.
My point is, I think The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, though it may seem disturbing, is actually a visual feast and is a very interesting movie.
It's funny because I saw that movie with your mother when we were living in Spain.
Yeah.
And your mother was pregnant with you at the time, and that movie so disturbed her. Like she was really upset by that movie, and I think part of it was being pregnant. Her emotions were slightly askew, and that movie is kind of intense.
Are you implying that my mom is like an emotionally unstable woman?
Never.
Whose brain she can't control her own brain just because she got pregnant with her lady parts. You sick son.
I'm sorry.
No, I know it upset her. But that also could just be because it's an upsetting movie.
Yeah,
but you're right.
Although she's not usually upset by upsetting movies.
Either way, that's a good point about these kind of movies. I think these kind of movies are more upsetting if you're in a particular headspace, and if certain things about them upset you.
Yeah, it depends on where you are.
With The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, there's other things in it that I find more disturbing than the thing at the end.
Oh, me too.
So
sure.
So just the human interaction, just because one of the characters is like a real jerk.
Yeah.
Is like a real piece of work.
Yeah, it's Dumbledore. We talked about this.
He's a real dick.
Yeah.
My point is, I find the way he treats people and interacts with people more disturbing than what happens at the end.
Yes. That's why they got rid of the movie, I just realized.
Oh, because Dumbledore's in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they don't want people seeing, it's Dumbledore. We should watch this. Family movie night.
Right.
Yeah. That would probably be a disaster.
Yeah.
I can see the Karen reviews online right now.
Yeah.
It's like, I tried to watch this movie with my children because Dumbledore was in it.
Yeah, Michael Gambon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's a good movie though.
It is. In fact, I'm really fond of all the movies you just mentioned.
Yeah.
All the Peter Greenaway movies.
The Pillow Book is probably the least like overtly sumptuous of it, but it's also the least it's a more modern movie. Like The Pillow Book, I feel like the Draughtsman's Contract and The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover kind of take place in certain time periods, whereas The Pillow Book is sort of like just about modern people hanging out in Japan or something.
Yeah, well, and it stars Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor.
And
yeah.
something also shocking happens at the end, which is sort of akin to cannibalism, but not really cannibalism. And The Draughtsman's Contract is the same. It's like a movie about like a perverted artist who eventually gets his comeuppance.
Yeah.
But they're all sumptuous and interesting and weird in their own way.
Yeah, all incredibly beautiful, lush-looking movies.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a big fan of that style.
I would say the primary palette of The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover is red.
Yeah.
The primary palette of The Draughtsman's Contract is green.
Yeah.
And the primary palette of The Pillow Book is probably like blue or gray, sort of icy.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, it's like a bluish thing.
Yeah. Also, I kind of feel like it's trying to do that like sort of Matrix thing where it's sort of trying to feel kind of modern and meta in a way.
Yeah, it's funny.
Although that movie obviously was made before The Matrix.
Yeah. Now, you know
I think.
I think it was. Or if not, it was right around the same time. But I'm pretty sure it was before The Matrix.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just going to say that your mother
Pillow
actually,
Bean.
your
Sorry.
mother has just got her hands on a copy of the book, The Pillow Book, you know, which is written by some Japanese courtesan
Yeah.
in like the 1600s or something like that.
Like the book that the movie's talking
Yeah,
about?
the book that the movie's talking about.
Yeah. The Pillow Book's from 1996. I think The Matrix is after that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, 1999.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, The Pillow Book did it first
Yeah.
and did it better. I love The Matrix, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm
The
just
Matrix
kidding.
is great.
I think the Matrix sort of ushered in a whole new era of sci-fi action filmmaking that didn't exist before.
Well,
it
you
came
know what?
out.
I think The Matrix did for cyberpunk what Lord of the Rings movies did for fantasy. It kind of legitimized it, you know, and stopped it from being just...
Do you think it's? Would you say it's cyberpunk?
Well, I mean, that's what William Gibson's work is, and I would say The Matrix is heavily influenced by
Yeah.
William Gibson.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, also Keanu Reeves has sort of become like a massive cyberpunk staple.
Right. Well, and he was in Johnny Mnemonic, which is
Yeah.
what came before The Matrix and sort of The Matrix fixed.
Also, he's been in that incredibly popular, famous cyberpunk open world game. He's like a main character in that game.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
That's a
and-
big part of it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That game's called like Cyberpunk 2077 or something. I forget what the date is.
Okay.
Any game that has like a vague date on it is like.
Right.
Anyway, but regardless, yeah, I guess you're right.
Anyway,
I guess I have to submit to you.
just have to surrender to my superior wisdom.
But yeah, I love Peter Greenaway. If you're not, you know, easily disturbed, I guess. I don't know. Watch what you want.
Yeah,
Like I like his movies. Maybe you will too. Maybe you won't. I don't care.
yeah.
It's my podcast. I'll say what I want. Yeah, we were gonna like honorable mention David Lynch because he has some distressing filmmaking as well.
Sure.
We talked about Blue Velvet, which I would argue the most memorable and alarming thing about that movie is Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. But it's, I mean, it really, the whole movie is sort of a weird...
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you were going to be upset by anything in that movie, it would probably be Dennis Hopper and his performance.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, of course, by way of David Lynch. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, David Lynch was directing him. I don't think Dennis Hopper... I don't know. I'd be curious to know on the set of Blue Velvet how many choices Dennis Hopper made versus how many times he was directed by David Lynch.
Right, I'd be curious too. Although I suspect that David Lynch just told him, you know, take the script and run with it.
Just be a nutcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's true. And he is sort of that kind of actor.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about like the stuff with the gas and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know.
Right. No, it's a really fantastic thing. And I was just watching the beginning of Blue Velvet recently again because it's on one of the streaming services.
Yeah.
And there's just so many little funny things in that movie. I mean, David Lynch is often
Yeah.
very funny, but the scene where the main actor Jeffrey, the character Jeffrey, who's he played by? The guy from
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan. He's walking home.
Yeah,
through
saying
the
his
field.
last name sounds like clearing your throat.
Yeah, MacLachlan.
MacLachlan.
Yeah. Anyway, he's walking through this field and he sees this like human ear on the ground, and it's kind of rotting and moldy. And he picks it up and he puts it into a little paper bag,
Yeah.
and he takes it to the police station. And he he says, you know, introduces himself to the detective, and he says, I found an ear. And the detective like kind of goes, really? And he takes the bag and he looks inside and he's like, That's an ear, all right.
But David Lynch was always good at that kind of dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Twin Peaks is full of that kind of dialogue.
Sure, absolutely.
Like, he
Yeah.
loves the awkward dialogue, especially with Kyle MacLachlan, because Kyle MacLachlan's really good at delivering it.
Yeah.
Which is probably one of the things he was, like, upset by with Dune. Because Dune doesn't really have a whole lot. I mean, it does have weird moments.
Oh, it sure
but
does.
not a lot with Kyle MacLachlan.
No.
Like, most of the weird moments are, like, with the Reverend Mother, or, like, you know, like the scene at the beginning with the Emperor, the Reverend Mother, and the
Navigator.
the Space Warper. I can't remember what they're called. The Navigator, yeah. Which, that's a creature that might upset some people because it has a vagina for a face.
Yeah, kind of.
Anyway, regardless, we brought up Blue Velvet because Blue Velvet has, like, alarming, violent sexual themes in it.
Right. Well,
comparatively.
Eraserhead, his first movie,
Yeah.
you know, also has sexual.
That's true. I mean, that whole movie is about, like, accidental young pregnancy and things like that.
The horrors of unexpected fatherhood.
Yeah, you're right. I would argue that there's a thing in that movie that has stuck with me for all time, and I'm sure has disturbed many people, which is the cutting the bandages off the baby.
Yeah, right.
And like cutting the goat baby open.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
very
upsetting.
alarming.
Yeah, it's like a nightmare, and that's of course the way David Lynch described the movie, a dream of dark and troubling things.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing feels like a stress dream.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, David Lynch, you know, he's a good mention. I feel like, you know, that's also why we added, like, Cronenberg to our list too, because you know, there's, like, this sort of that body horror thing there.
Sure.
Too. And I would argue, actually, that the remake of The Fly, even though the original Fly is completely different and in a lot of ways, in my opinion, better, the remake of The Fly is more upsetting as far as, like, the way the characters interact and the things that Jeff Goldblum says and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing for that story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like, in the original movie, it's very disturbing, but it's disturbing in a much less, like, open way. You know what I mean? It's much more delicately disturbing.
Yeah.
Like, it's disturbing.
Right, right.
And the original Fly is a good one to bring up because it has scenes that are very alarming.
Yeah, I love that movie.
But they're alarming in an understated way that makes them more alarming.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the Cronenberg Fly is much more like, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah.
Oh, you better not stick around here, or I'll rip your arm off. Like,
yeah,
you know, like,
it's way more of a conscious. Like in the original movie, The Fly, you almost feel sorry for it because it can't control what it's doing.
Yeah.
But in the Cronenberg one, the Jeff Goldblum Fly becomes sort of a monster that is conscious and is choosing to do some
sort
of these
an evil
things.
monster.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like a werewolf movie, kind of.
That being said, I love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
But just because I really like those kind of, like, cheesy body horror 80s movies.
Sure.
Like, I also really like From Beyond.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
I also really Reanimator, though, is the best example of cheesy 80s gore, like, body horror movies.
Yeah.
Reanimator, I think, is in a different class from all of those movies.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the ultimate expression of that art form.
Yeah.
That's actually a really... There's so many movies we're thinking of that I didn't even think to talk about.
But that's all right.
Reanimator is a great example because it has really upsetting stuff in it too.
Yeah.
Like, specifically all the stuff with the evil doctor who's missing his head.
Right. Yeah. That, again, a weird sexual perversity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing, you know, and it's the kind of thing that's almost you feel like it's
the perversity is not amazing, but the way it's done is very interesting to watch.
Well, what I meant was amazing. Not that the perversity was amazing, but what's amazing to me is how we have gone so far into this sort of puritanical, fear-based, you know, trigger mentality. It's like you can't have anything like that anymore without somebody losing their mind because it's, you know, and
we got to be careful though when we walk down line because we don't want to be like, oh, those snowflakes out there.
I know, and I don't mean to say that, but I am.
I know what you mean. There's a fear now in art that wasn't there before. That you can't really go all out in certain areas because, you know, it's gonna cause your art basically to be shut down because too many people will be like, that's not something you're allowed to talk about. And you don't want to get into a place where you're not allowed to talk about things. That being said, I think Reanimator still has its place in cult communities,
I hope
think
so.
and I think the movie does have alarming elements. However, it's all played for camp. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, it's like, Return of the Living Dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's all really over the top.
Yeah, it's a crazy comedy.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's like Evil Dead.
Yeah. And the nudity in it and sexual violence. I mean, it's all like exploitation stuff.
Sure.
Like, it's a reference to a time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which actually is a perfect segue into talking about John Waters.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Because all of his early work was exploitation.
Yeah. And it's funny because his early work was, I think, also reflected, and I think he was inspired by Andy Warhol's early movies, because
Yeah.
Andy Warhol did some of these very exploitative, like Dracula and Frankenstein movies, which is a way for me to talk about the actor, what was his name? Ugo
Jorschenfar?
Yeah, he just died recently, and he was in those early Warhol movies. But he was also in a lot of other movies that were really good. In fact, the most recent movie I just saw him in was this movie, The Secret Agent.
Yeah.
It was like a Spanish film, and it's a great movie. And it's his last performance before he died. What the hell is his name? Oh my God, I feel so sad.
It's
that I
okay. It
can't
doesn't
think of his
matter.
name. It's not Ugo.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, John Waters is one of the weird ones because he has a lot of examples in early filmmaking of trying to be shocking. Mm-hmm. And yet, as he's gotten older and as he's continued to be notable as an artist and a filmmaker, his stuff has sort of morphed into being much more family friendly.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Which is
Hairspray.
yeah, but also like he was like a guest star on The Simpsons and stuff.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff he's done that I feel like early him would have thought was like a waste of time.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, obviously Hairspray, his version even has become even more and more like gentrified.
Uh-huh.
Like, because I mean, we always, in the original Hairspray, we always still had the shock factor of like Divine being the mom.
Right, exactly.
And it's sort of, it's almost gone in a more perverse direction in its own way because now that I'm thinking about it, like with like John Travolta playing
Right.
Divine's character in the newest adaptation, in the movie version of the musical play.
Right.
That's kind of weird.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's strange.
Just because of who John Travolta is as a person, not for any other reason.
Right.
Like, I have no problem at all with drag performances. I just think it's weird that John Travolta was like, sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it makes you like, why John Travolta? Not that I mind. I mean,
No,
more
I don't
power to
mind.
him.
It's fine. It's just a little bizarre.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, there have been jokes about like John Travolta being closeted and things like that. So who
knows?
Who knows?
But,
I don't know. That was in no way, by the way, an insult of John Travolta. There was literally a joke on South Park about it. And before I heard that joke, I didn't even know people were joking about anything like that.
Uh-huh.
So when I heard that, I was like, really? That's a thing people think?
Right.
Like, so that just all kind of like tied it all together in my brain in that way. But anyway, yeah, John Waters, his early movies, his early exploitative shock and awe movies are just, I mean, they're just there to be like explosive.
Yeah, and they're kind of hard to watch at this point just because they're not good.
Not movies, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like home movies,
Yeah.
like about gross things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I feel like the best way to just make an example of why they're not super watchable anymore is you just say the thing about Pink Flamingos, where at the end Divine eats dog poop. It's
Right.
like, who wants to see that?
No, absolutely. And it was, I mean...
It's like, look at how filthy this is. Ooh.
Right. No, but that was kind of, he was just going, again, shock value. And in fact, that's the name of one of his books, is Shock Value, because that was where the money was.
Yeah.
And if you could be shocking...
Well, and it
this
worked.
was back in the 60s,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked. It made him famous.
Yeah.
He did all those movies, and it led to a lifelong career as a media person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in a way, I applaud him.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
honestly, if I could think of something that would put me on the map like that right now, I'd probably do it too.
Yeah.
Even if it was weird and upsetting. distasteful to me as a person. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't. I don't think I would sacrifice my own morality.
Right.
But I don't think he did either. I mean,
No,
those movies are just. There's nothing immoral about them. They're just like over the top and gross.
Yeah, and I think that because he grew up in this very kind of straight-laced, kind of suffocating, you know, kind of working class environment or middle class.
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
It's called Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore, exactly. I think that he did these things because he was trying to, I mean, obviously he was gay.
Yeah.
As was Divine, of course. And
It's like somebody who's openly gay growing up in like South Boston or something.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going to lash out probably.
Yeah.
Either that or be crushed.
Yeah.
You know, and he lashed out with his humor and his filmmaking.
Yeah. Well, and so did Divine
And
by
that-
doing
that-
everything she did.
Right, but they were like best friends.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why this happened. you
No,
know?
absolutely. I'm just saying, like, I watched, there was a documentary that came out about Divine's life, and I watched it and I was like, it sounds like she really had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there was the whole thing with, like, the eating disorder and the, like, you know, obviously dying young and everything, and that's all
Right.
horrible, but at least while she was, like, after she escaped her awful suburban background,
Mm-hmm.
and not that all suburban, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It sounds like a lot of her life, like working with John and like being Divine, was like very
Freeing.
for her.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, if you want to read about it, the book Shock Value
Yeah.
talks all about it, and it's interesting.
Although I gotta say, the documentary talked about her eating habits too, and those sound atrocious.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like, I mean, like not as an any way as an insult to her. I just
Right.
mean like she would do things like with every meal, like drink 2 full 2-liter bottles of soda and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeesh.
that'll kill you.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, for sure.
Like, but you know, we all got to die somehow.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I think most of the troupe that John Waters assembled to make those early movies are dead of one thing or another, and not many of them have survived.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I remember the name of the actor from the Andy Warhol movies who just died recently, Udo Kier.
Yeah. We don't care.
And he was always a really interesting actor. I liked him, and he was in a lot of stuff.
Well, I don't know a lot about him, so I'll look him up later.
Well, you have to watch. I've been recommending to Max this movie, The Secret Agent, which is
I know.
I think it's a Brazilian film or something.
You've never stopped talking about it.
I know, but Udo Kier is in it. That's his last performance,
No,
and
I'll
he does
watch it.
very nicely.
Maybe I'll watch it tonight. I don't know.
Yeah, it's up to you.
But speaking of which, not to quickly move on from your subject,
No.
I will watch that movie eventually. But
Yeah.
to circle back, I just realized we kind of just like, I kind of just talked about what was bad about Cronenberg's The Fly, and I kind of want to just mention a couple of his movies
Sure.
that I wanted to talk about that I forgot about. We were going to talk about, which is you mentioned Dead Ringers,
Yes, Dead Ringers.
which is like a weird psychological thriller about these two guys that are like gynecologists.
Yeah, that might be my favorite Cronenberg movie. It's the twins are played by one of my favorite actors.
Who you can't remember the name of.
Yeah, you know, he does the voice of Scar in The Lion
I know
King.
who it is. I just
Yeah.
don't remember his name either.
I know. I've been sitting too
It doesn't
long.
matter.
My brain
Just
is not working.
people can just look up the movie Dead Ringers
Yeah.
and find the cast.
Anyway, it's a great performance, and it's Jeremy Irons.
Yeah,
and
Jeremy
he plays both of the characters, which is kind of awesome.
You know what's weird? It occurs to me that what's his name from There Will Be Blood,
Oh yeah,
considered one of the greatest actors of our generation.
Yeah. he is
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
It occurs to me that Daniel Day-Lewis could have also played the main character in Dead Ringers.
Absolutely.
Because they just, you know, these both kind of like old, hyper serious guys.
Yeah.
Um,
In a weird way, he plays a very similar character in
Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread. I would say this kind of
they're
controlling,
definitely controlling lunatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
death obsessed.
But yeah, Dead Ringers is definitely one to watch that has some distressing elements in it.
Yeah.
I also wanted to. Oh, sorry. What did you want
No,
to say?
I was just going to say, I always think the most disturbing single thing in Dead Ringers is the instruments that these twin doctors order because they're starting to go crazy, and they order a set of specially made surgical instruments.
Well, yeah, because they say they're operating on a woman who has like mutant genitalia.
Yeah,
or something.
and these instruments are called gynecological instruments for operating on mutant women.
Yeah.
Which is like very, and then they show the instruments and they're just very weird looking.
For the record, the staff working with the surgeons stop them from doing anything before they go off the rails.
Right.
But it's a cool scene.
Yeah.
And the instruments are interesting.
You know, the actor who plays the metal artist who makes the instruments in the movie is actually the same actor who plays the psychic guy from Scanners.
You got to stop trying to remember stuff.
Yeah, I know. But you've seen
the
Scanners.
Evil psychic guy
No,
from
no,
Scanners?
no. The good guy, the main guy.
good guy. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
that is.
yeah. I forget his name.
I
but
saw Scanners once.
Okay. Well, anyway, the main guy. He plays the metal artist who makes the instruments.
Yeah. Worth checking out.
Yeah, it's good. Another David Cronenberg movie, by the way, Scanners.
Yeah, and I was gonna say one of my favorite more serious. Well, I guess no. Dead Ringers is one of his more serious movies, but I would say also one of my other favorite more serious movies is Eastern Promises.
Yeah.
And that movie has some alarming stuff in it because there's like murder and there's also I told you like baby homicide. I think.
Yeah.
Is there, or is it just a guy's going to attempt it and then he gets stopped?
You know, this is a movie I've only seen once and a long time ago, so I don't really recall.
I like it because of the feel of the movie. I can't speak to like whether or not Viggo Mortensen does like a good Russian accent or any of that stuff, but like I think the movie is very atmospheric, and I like it for that.
I always get
also
mixed
there's
up.
that whole scene where he gets attacked naked in a bathhouse
in the
by
Turkish
like
bath.
by like someone trying to kill him, and he has to like fight this guy off naked.
Yeah, that's a great scene. But you know, I always get that movie, and I'm never sure if that scene is in Eastern Promises or in A History of Violence.
I'm pretty sure it's in Eastern Promises.
Okay. I get those two movies mixed up.
I'm not sure, 100% sure I've ever seen A History of Violence.
Okay, well, it's pretty good if you get a chance to see it.
Maybe I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, those
Definitely.
are definitely worth checking out. There's other obviously honorable mentions for Cronenberg, but I didn't want to get too into like the weeds with his other movies because a lot of his movies are just like more body horror and stuff.
Yeah.
They're not really like alarming subject matter.
Right.
But I guess sort of last on our list that we, and you know, forgive us if there's some important directors or films we haven't talked about.
I'm sure there's hundreds.
Yeah, I mean, we have infinite time to do this podcast, so if you really are invested in it, don't worry. At some point, we'll probably talk about almost anything.
Yeah, Tarkovsky. You know, we could do a whole thing on Tarkovsky. You know,
I guess.
Solaris and you know.
Yeah, I didn't think about the Soviet.
Yeah.
But there's also like not just Soviet. I mean, there's like, you know, old Russian literature movies or like old, like anything that comes out of that part of the world.
Yeah, or you know, German M.
Yeah.
You know,
German and Russian.
Yeah.
Anything that comes from people with a history of being very serious and very depressed.
Right.
But I wanted to discuss in brief Lars von Trier.
Oh yeah.
Primarily because of the movie Antichrist. Which is a movie that I think a lot of people find very distressing, but I find mildly underwhelming in some ways for a lot of the same reasons that I find any kind of like body horror thing or like, not body horror, like any sort of violence thing underwhelming, which is that, yes, Antichrist has some really great stuff in it, some really great character work, and some genuinely disturbing moments. But I don't feel like that movie has enough of an in-depth plot to justify the horrific violence portrayed in it.
Maybe not.
Which is to say, I am not involved enough with the characters in the story because the story just feels like it's just more there to be shocking than it is to be a story.
I agree.
And that bothers me, despite the fact that the movie has great elements in it, and I still enjoy the movie.
Right.
I just think like, you know, you kind of got to have a bit more going on if you're going to have like, you know, a 2x4 to the testicles or like, you know, like somebody committing like genital mutilation on themselves.
Yeah. Well, in a way, you could almost say the same thing about, you know, Salo. You know,
Yeah.
they're both kind of
Yeah,
superficial.
but as you said, Salo has roots in
Yeah, the
like
history.
historical roots,
Of
whereas
course.
Lars von Trier is just an auteur filmmaker.
Well, except that he's a European, and any European who's lived through the wars, you know, obviously
so
is
you're
going
like
to be.
you're pulling the Herzog card on this one.
Well, in a way, yeah. Because I mean, when I think about, you know, for instance, a good example is, you know, the director
Actually,
of.
Herzog is somebody we could
Herzog
talk
is
about
another
as far as
example. Yeah,
having alarming movies.
Yeah,
too.
he's a perfect example. Exactly. You know, but I'm thinking about the director of RoboCop.
Yeah. But
Verhoeven.
okay, but I understand that, like that. Yeah, he's European. You know, maybe he has dark history.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, I think the movie takes everything a little too lightly.
Maybe.
And that's what bothers me. Like, there's that whole thing with the puppet fox too.
Yeah,
the
but you
dead
know,
fox that like talks,
yeah.
which I know is like symbolic, but
Yeah.
like I'm just saying, like I don't know, the whole movie feels too light for the subject matter.
Maybe it could be. I mean, I think that it kind of in a way, because going back to Blue Velvet with the puppet Robin, you know, on the branch, you know, there's
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
the scene at the end of Blue Velvet is they're looking at this robin sitting on a branch, and the camera shows the robin. We see what they're looking at,
Yeah.
and it's clearly a mechanical robin.
But does it take place in that final scene where like everything's great now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could. I think that's because they're trying to suggest that it could be a fantasy.
Oh, I think so too. But what I'm saying is that movies like that that incorporate absurdities along with very serious violence and stuff like that, I think that there's something about that.
I'm just not sure the absurdity with the fox works
Okay.
in the sense of this movie.
I mean, I'd need to see it again.
My point is that I feel I don't know Lars von Trier's history. I don't know him as a person.
Right.
So to come at a movie with the expectation that you need to understand who the director is as a person in order to understand the depth of the movie is insane.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to judge a movie on its own merits.
I
and
totally
to me,
agree.
Antichrist sort of feels phoned in. It's very dark, yeah, but I don't really feel like there's much of an underlying story beneath the weirdness and the craziness and the violence. It's more just like there because it feels like the author wanted to create something deep,
Right.
or something intense and crazy.
Right, but in that way, it reminds me of there's a lot of films that are being made now that have kind of shocking elements, but which are not really earned. And in a way, it's almost a throwback to the old exploitation films that we were talking about, like, you know, that John Waters and stuff. Because, you know, when you watch something like, you know, Begonia, you know,
Yeah,
I mean, we're
which
big.
I have not seen.
Yeah, well, we've seen it, your mother and I, and it's okay. You know, it's not my favorite movie by, you know, whatever is the Greek director.
Yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yorgos Lanthimos. I mean, I really like some of his movies.
Yeah, The Lobster is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it's a great movie. But I think sometimes these filmmakers like him, like Lars von Trier, they kind of have to make something, and maybe they're not, you know, they're not in a position to do something as incredibly deeply realized as they have in the past, and so they'll just do something that's just a little bit more exploitative. And maybe
Okay.
I'm wrong about that. Maybe they're putting a ton of thought into it that we're just not seeing.
I know. I just worry sometimes because, like, you know, there are directors out there that will make stuff that they feel is enormously deep, and then it becomes popular, and then everybody else thinks it's deep, and it's just garbage.
Yeah, that can happen.
Like, and I hate that.
I do too.
Like,
yeah.
because there's every day I'm exposed to art that is obviously made by somebody with an enormous ego, but is not really worth anything.
Yeah.
And everybody loves it because they're like, oh my God, look at how beautiful and deep it is.
Right.
And it's just crap.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me started on like Tree of Life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
like,
what you mean.
But also there's like a song I've been subjected to recently that's very popular called 7 Years by this guy Lucas Graham from Denmark. And it is the most egotistical, trite, nonsense song about like life. And I have to hear it every day because it's insanely popular.
Yeah.
And-
Sorry.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that kind of art, I'm always on the lookout to make sure that that's not what is happening.
Oh, I agree.
Especially when it's directors I'm following. You know, and I'm interested in Lars von Trier's work. So, like, I'm worried about him, I guess, making movies that mean nothing just because he he felt like
he had to make a movie.
He had to make a movie,
right?
Or because he felt like he was trying to make something deep that wasn't actually that deep because he's like, I don't know, has like an overblown ego or something.
Yeah, and it's really sad when that happens because especially when it's a director who's made things that you've liked, you don't want to see them kind of going down that road.
This is a great picture of him they have on Google here.
Oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Anyway, but he's made a number of movies that obviously have really worked.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we want to end on, mentioning some of his greatest movies, I mean, I still feel like Nymphomaniac Part 1 and 2 are a triumphant masterpiece.
Yeah, they're epic, and I think they're really good, and I think they were probably underseen because the title itself is too challenging for a lot of people.
I think what's great about those movies is they're a great example of like, you can take any idea and do it well, because in a way those movies are like a feminist masterpiece.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any of the earmarks of like bad feminism, of like, somebody like who's clearly trying to like, who's not really feminist, who just sort of like just wants
pandering
to like pander or like hate on men or something. You know what I mean? Like but that movie's about a really incredible character that goes through a lot of crazy shit because of the decisions she makes, just based primarily on the fact that she's a woman. But yeah, those are great. I mean, I'm looking at the list of movies here, and Melancholia is pretty good.
Yeah, I like
although
Melancholia.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah, it is. It's grim, but it's a good movie.
Anyway, either way, we don't have time to.
Yeah, we can't go through his
filmography, but but those are definitely the two movies I'm probably most familiar with.
Yeah.
So he's definitely done great work.
Yeah.
And Antichrist, I would not say is not great work.
I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, I wasn't bored.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like you got to be careful because there's a fine line there.
Yeah.
Between like, something being good and I wasn't bored.
Right. Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, in its way, if you just accept it for what it is, it's entertaining and it's dark. I mean, it starts with the death of a child, so obviously that's always tragic and horrible.
Right.
I just feel like it needed more, I don't know, character involvement, or like I wanted to be in it with those characters, and I feel like I wasn't.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt like, I don't know, I guess if you look at it from the perspective of like, because it starts with like the two main characters, their child like falls out a window or something. And it's like, if you look at it as like the rest of the movie is just them going insane because that happened, then...
Which I kind of think that is it, at least as I recall.
Then like, I'll accept that, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the movie ends in a very surreal situation.
I know. I'm just saying, if you look at like another movie that's disturbing and surreal, and I actually think is a really delicately crafted, like powerful movie, I would say Mother.
Yeah. Yeah, Mother's a good movie.
If you want to compare like Mother and Antichrist, because both of them are about like things just sort of, these surreal situations where things sort of just collapse into complete insanity and implode on themselves.
Right.
But Mother sort of has this full circle premise that's very clearly thought out running through the whole thing.
Well, the whole thing is I mean, the entire movie is an allegory, a very clear allegory. Yeah. So, and on that level, it works perfectly.
Yeah, but that's what I think is great about it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the problem maybe that I have with Antichrist is it doesn't feel like it has a clear direction in that way.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just my opinion. For all I know, there could have been people who saw Antichrist and it was like it changed their life. I don't know.
Absolutely.
That's ultimately what I think we're getting down to here, and what we got to realize on this podcast is that every single thing in this life and universe is subjective.
Yeah.
And every person is going to have a completely different experience of life. And we're just trying to, pull some common threads here.
Yeah.
We're just hoping we can reach across the divide and, give each of you a little forehead kiss.
It's beautiful, man.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
No, I just, we like movies. If you like movies, you might not agree with us, but I hope you watch us.
Yay.
Do-do-do. I feel like I'm forcing myself to put a jingle on the end of every episode.
Yeah. That's an odd one for the subject matter. It's the Andy Griffith Show. starring Andy Griffith.
For all we know, the underlying theme of that show was sexual violence.
It
Okay, I
could
don't
have
know.
been. Yeah, it probably was.
Goodbye.
Bye.